was a legend told for many years, the story of the silence beneath. It was said that deep under the old abandoned asylum, something evil and ancient waited, feeding on the sadness and madness of the people who once lived there. The asylum closed after a series of brutal murders and strange disappearances, stood as a rotting reminder of the town's dark history. Amelia, a journalist who loved writing about the supernatural, came to Ravensbrook with one goal: to find the truth behind the legend. With a camera, a flashlight, and her strong will, she entered the asylum one foggy evening, the setting sun casting long shadows on the cracked walls. As she walked through the twisted halls, the air felt heavy and silent. The only sounds were her own footsteps and the distant creaks of the old building. She took pictures and notes carefully, driven by her strong curiosity. It wasn't long before she found the entrance to the underground tunnels, hidden behind a broken wall. The tunnels were dark and rotten, filled with the smell of wet earth and decay. Amelia kept going, her flashlight cutting through the darkness. The deeper she went, the more she felt a growing fear that clawed at her mind. Invisible eyes seemed to watch her every move, and faint whispers echoed around her. Suddenly, her flashlight flickered and went out, leaving her in complete darkness. Panic set in as she searched for her spare batteries, but before she could replace them, a cold, clammy hand covered her mouth. She struggled, but the grip was strong. A rough voice, barely human, whispered in her ear, "Welcome to the silence beneath." Dragged deeper into the tunnels, Amelia found herself in a huge, dark chamber. The walls were lined with horrifying sculptures made from bones and rotting flesh, lit by flickering torches that cast creepy shadows. In the center of the chamber was a massive stone altar, stained with the blood of many victims. Chained to the altar was a man, his eyes wide with terror and his body torn and bloody. Hooded figures, their faces hidden, chanted in a harsh, strange language as they performed a ritual. Amelia watched in horror as they plunged a dagger into the man's chest, ripping out his still-beating heart and offering it to a monstrous figure emerging from the darkness. The creature was a nightmare, a mass of moving shadows and twisted limbs, its eyes burning with evil intelligence. It ate the heart with a sickening crunch, and the chanting grew louder and crazier. Amelia realized with growing fear that the creature was the source of the silence beneath, a being that fed on suffering and fear. The hooded figures turned their attention to her, their chants growing more intense. She was next. But just as they advanced, a brilliant light filled the chamber. The creature screamed in pain as it was covered in the light. Amelia shielded her eyes, feeling a strange force pulling her away from the nightmare. When she opened her eyes, she was back in the asylum's entrance hall, her camera and flashlight by her side. Confused and shaken, she looked at the footage, expecting to find proof of her ordeal. Instead, all she saw were images of herself wandering through empty halls, talking to shadows. Ravensbrook's legend remained a mystery, and Amelia left the town with more questions than answers. But deep in the earth, the silence beneath stirred once more, waiting for the next unlucky soul to wander into its domain.